All right, welcome to the nopants sidepony experience. I'm Katie.
I'm Alex.
And we are here with no guests. It's just us. Wah, wah. But we are just a couple days after the first regional, so we had to get on the mics and talk about everything that went down.
So good.
Yeah, I know. Everyone says that.
Sidepony, the hood sidepony.
Until they see me, and then they know I'm not. So, wow, what did you think? Was that,
Man, people are good.
Yeah.
People have gotten so much better.
The
There's so
exercise
many
is
girls.
real.
They're snatching 155, 165,
Yeah.
175,
Oh, yeah.
like little girls. Like, it's not anymore where there's one little gymnast, one bigger girl for the weights, and then like an aerobic girl. Everyone's lifting all the weights. If
Everyone
you're on a good,
can do everything.
Average team.
Absolutely.
Everyone can do everything.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting in terms of like where the sport's headed. It's also amazing seeing from where it was to where it is now, that
Just a couple of
the
years.
level of play is so high. Watching the individuals, at least specifically, I was amazed by the guys. thought for sure that 405 deadlift was going to flatten people.
No, people are just going touch and go on
Mhm.
everything.
Absolutely. And the women, you know, I agree that the snatches that were like rare to see lifted for a 1 rep max in the snatch ladder in 2012
Yeah.
these were like winning the snatch. Many people got to those bars.
Yeah.
And like it was amazing.
It's so awesome to see, like, strict muscle ups. People
Yeah.
doing 30 plus strict muscle ups
That was
with
pretty
other
cool.
things in 20 minutes.
I know, it was pretty cool.
I loved it.
I haven't got to try any of those workouts yet, the individuals, but I would like to. I bet that strict muscle up one looks fun to you. Did you
Yeah.
try it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I want to, though.
I think that would be a good one. Maybe we try it with a little bit longer time cap.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need the time cap and then we can just stop there. But I thought that one looked cool. I mean, in a really hurty kind of way.
Oh, yeah. The better you are, the worse that's going to feel.
Right? You get way more pain if you can keep going for.
53 pounds isn't heavy, or isn't light for all
Yeah,
snatches.
it's crazy that kettlebell snatch is like I wouldn't say it's the easy part of it, but it's kind of, it's-
Recovery.
Yeah, almost like the active recovery, and it's like no joke as well.
Yeah.
But
So that was really cool to see.
totally.
What was the hardest part for you you did team?
Yeah, that was interesting. The hardest thing for me, there were actually plenty of skills and events in there that were challenging for me. I was actually really afraid of all the burpees because that's totally not my thing, but those went fine.
Is that hard to do it simultaneously?
No, the synchronicity part wasn't too tough. There was a standard we kept getting called on of feet coming outside of the lane, and that's our fault for not really knowing that standard. Obviously, we said in the rules briefing every day, but we could not remember hearing that, and we were like, oh no, like a lot of people made that mistake, so we weren't alone on that, but
I didn't even know that was a thing.
it was pretty tight lanes,
big
and if
legs.
your feet came out of it, yeah, you had to tighten that up, but the synchronicity wasn't tricky, so they could have made that a more strict standard. It was really just be in the bottom of the burpee together. That was the only synchronicity. You can get up different timing, you can actually jump over the bar and go down to the bottom at different times. You just both have to be down there at the same time before
Yeah.
the next part happens. But that one wasn't too bad. I actually really struggled on the snatches. That's not my favorite. So to have the consistency in practice not transfer to the event was a bummer. But
What do you think was the difference? Was there just
I
rest
think
times were different, or?
I know coming out cold from the corral was definitely one thing at the start. I was able to come back from that and then get a little more consistent through the middle bars. And then at 165,
That's heavy, right? That's
it's
not a
on my higher
comfortable weight
end.
normally.
Yeah, and I've been missing snatches a lot lately. Just trying to play with new techniques. I've been failing more than succeeding, trying to fix stuff. And so having got them in practice was a confidence boost, but I got one on there and I needed a second, and I just kept missing it. And it was like, come on, I know I can lift this. And I was throwing it up overhead, but positions weren't right. And so that was total letdown. And
Were you nervous? Like, was it a nerve thing?
I think, as you can relate to, it's a fun environment to be in with all the energy. Once I started missing, then it was nerves of like, oh no, we're running out of time, and we both wanted to get to the next bar beyond that. But it wasn't so much that I was nervous of missing the weight. It was just, I just thought I could pull it out on the next one. No, it was another miss. Pull it out on the next one. Ah, man. But that was on day one stuff, and then I saw a lot of teams and individuals saying the same thing about the treadmill, the True Form Runner.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw these last year. I didn't compete last year, but it's not a new piece of equipment. But everyone was just really feeling this. I don't know if it's just sticky tread because they're new, or if it's the style of this runner.
Terrible.
It was brutal. I was seeing people. You know, for me, it was just the whole leg, like quad, hamstring, like all the way down.
Yeah.
I was just tight. And we only had to run in minute-long intervals, so that wasn't that bad. You got to break for 2 minutes while your other teammates went.
But it's supposed to be a sprint, technically.
Right. So all of us were like, oh, jeez. And then having to go on to the next thing. But I saw some of the individuals almost having to walk, and some people started limping. Like it was that workout
terrible.
was tough for them.
It's
totally
so different. It's not anything like regular running.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll definitely be slower on one of those.
Oh yeah.
Or we're just running.
And like I don't know, did you get to play with different styles? I saw some people running really upright and with like choppy little steps, and it looked to me to be inefficient. But maybe it worked for them and kept them on a slower pace for what they needed. The people that I thought looked the best were doing more of a pose running style, I guess you'd say, where they were leaning forward.
That's what I tried to do.
Yeah, and their foot was up high, right? Yeah.
So that you could keep that, like, the bed continuing to move.
Right.
And that was only going to move if you were hitting the very top.
Where it's on an angle. Time. Yeah, exactly. Those are the people, when they would...
on a hill.
Yeah.
For, last year it was a mile.
Yeah.
So my calves were just, like, done.
Oh, yeah.
1 minute in, my calves were blown out.
Totally. Yeah. No, I could see that with... I won't speak for them, but it looked like the leg, maybe specifically calves, or all of it just looked like they were running out of
the announcers
energy.
were tearing people's technique apart.
Oh, really?
Like, it's so hard. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, everyone was like, some people were like hobbling, like up and down, like almost running in place. Like some people,
yeah, that's what I was seeing.
Like,
it was little steps, and they weren't ever getting up on the angle, and so the tread would barely move. It did look like running in place.
Push it if you're.
No. Exactly. If you're on a normal treadmill, that's fine because it's moving on its own. But yeah, that must have been what I saw. It
looked terrible.
If you've never been on it though, it's hard to learn that.
No idea. You have a couple minutes in warm-ups
to
play.
So the people next weekend will know this, or of course if they've been on it last year and remember it. What else did I see that was really interesting? I mean, just overall performances. What stood out to you across the weekend? Were you watching? I mean, I usually gravitate more towards the females because I feel like I know them and I can relate to it. I don't know.
A ton of the males.
Yeah, but it's always cool to watch both.
Oh,
I mean, it's amazing. But like, any events stand out to you, like across all of the 7 that they did?
I mean, I guess it was the South. Just the strict muscle ups, like how perfect they were, and just
really
flying through reps. Like one strict muscle up is hard.
Right.
To do multiple, and then your rest is strict handstand push-ups. And like some of these girls are like 115 pounds. They're kettlebell snatching 53 pounds. It's like almost half their body weight.
Were you seeing a lot of people doing unbroken fours or sets of 2s? What were you seeing rep scheme wise?
The really good people did sets of 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And then,
I think more of the boys were trying for 4s.
Yeah. That was not as doable for the.
That seemed really aggressive.
Yeah.
I know that some people might have posted that on Instagram, like in practice, like, oh, here are my 4.
Well, there's a lot of people saying how it was so much worse in the competition.
Absolutely.
They did 4s in practice, and it was nothing like that. Same with the legless rope climb. People were saying they did it so fast at home. Yeah. And then they got there and could barely hold on to the rope.
Same.
Like blown up, just done.
I was like, I'll PR in competition because I'll have like the adrenaline and whatever else.
You're not anymore. You're moving your equipment.
True. Yeah, you have to move the equipment. That adds a little of time, but I thought would have helped my forearms rest. It did not. They were blown.
Well, the new standard is kind of scary for the legless rope climb.
That to me was
weird.
Total. If anything, it was like maybe it was just a mental freak out, but yeah, you have to. Obviously, you're climbing without any legs, and no part of your legs can be grasping at the rope. But to touch, you need to touch the crossbeam, and before your legs are allowed to touch the rope, you have to return that hand to the rope. So both hands have to be on the rope, and only then your legs can grab onto it. And that was not the standard 2 years ago in 2014. We could touch, and as soon as we touched the beam, we could put our feet on.
Because you're swinging. Sometimes you have like if I swing, I hope I'm going to get my hand back on.
Totally.
Because my arm that's holding my body on
is
like
running
giving
out.
out.
Yeah.
And you're like sliding as you're swinging, and then you just pray that you're going to grab back.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe how many girls, when I watched the individuals go, were able to really almost do like a close grip, like, and just tag and come right back to it. They made it look so easy.
Yeah.
I was like right
it's
here
like
at the top,
right?
like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Boom, boom. Yeah, I guess it
like
is similar
holding it
in a lot of ways
like
to the pegboard,
that.
and we know a lot of people started training that more, so that could have been it. Or even like an ice cream maker holding up here and being able to manipulate your body, but that was really hard, even if it was just for me being so unfamiliar with it.
It's just a new standard.
Threw me off big
time. I
time.
don't think they announced that. It wasn't something that was really...
I don't think it was listed in the rule book, but they do leave certain specific technical things to the rules briefing. You can't write everything down.
Right.
People are going to misinterpret things anyway.
Right.
But yeah, and some of that stuff they decide kind of on the fly once they get the judges together and see the equipment and see the workout. Some of it has to be, and that's just the nature of our sport. I don't think that's a flaw in the judging. I think a lot of people get really critical of the judging and really critical of the process, but you have to understand there's no groundwork laid for this. This is the first time every time. So I think, they up the ante even with something like a small little rule like that.
Yeah.
Now that's the way I'm gonna have to start practicing like this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
there was a lot of interesting strict muscle up techniques out there.
Yeah.
Despite it's supposed to be strict, but people still were finding ways to gain momentum, and it was interesting
weight
to
shifts
see.
and
It was interesting to see the judges call or not call.
yeah, that is so tough. The
Because
subjectivity.
they weren't breaking technical rules.
Right.
They're finding ways around the rules, which I'm wondering if, like, for future regionals, those are going to be new rules.
That's a good point. Yeah, we've seen stuff like that in the past where someone did something and then the next weekend it's not allowed, which is fine because you're only competing against the people in your own region. But yeah, times might not be comparable at that point. And, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see if the rules of the strict muscle up come out a little harsher, or if they explain it to their judges in a different verbiage to get a little bit more objective result. I don't know. I didn't get to watch the South, but I did hear some rumors that some of the women were getting by with a lot more than some of the others.
There was like some judges, the second like a girl's foot would raise up a little bit, it was a no rep, and other girls that were like leaning back and then just like swinging their whole body forwards, and that was allowed. So and again, the judges are doing their best with like the list of standards. So it's kind of like, which judge are you going to get?
Yeah, that is a tough movement to judge. There's a lot they had them looking at in the, not just the body position, but once you jumped up. Like I heard some girls jumped up and were like a bent arm and went right into it. And at first they were okay with it, and then a head judge would come over and be like, no. They have to show extension, maybe not a turnout, but extension, and then go into the pull. So and then whoever that was started struggling. Right. As soon as they had to show the full.
Game changer.
Yeah. Can't wait to just try that one out.
I really, it'll be fun.
I know. I was just, I was amazed just overall with everyone's performance. I think some of my favorites are, of course, watching my friends. I was so excited and proud to see my friend Becca Voigt make it for her 9th games. That was awesome. A 9-beat.
Crushed it. Like, just flew through everything.
It was amazing. And just seeing her in the backside of things, like behind the scenes, just each event, like with full humility, like this one's gonna be really tough, like I'm really nervous about this part or that part, like never going at it with like, oh, I can cruise, I'm way ahead, like just not the type of athlete she is and not the type of competitor she is. She's always sees it as, it's like a delicate situation. And you saw with someone like Alessandra Pacelli where she would crush an event and then have a much lower performance in the next one, and whereas some athletes, I even would say myself, would look at that as like, oh, now there's no chance because I scored so bad. Right. She ended up dropping back in a different heat, but then was able to like come back. It was amazing to be able to do that. So definitely the athletes that made it had earned it and showed that each event coming back or staying where they were at was pretty exciting, in California at least, to watch.
Yeah, and South, Camille was at the top the whole time. There wasn't really any like questioning if she was going to make it, but everything after that, every single event, like things were shifting, like people had to like fight back a certain number of points, and then it wasn't until like the very last event where there was like a whole nother switch of like who was going, like from event to event. It was just like fighting tooth and nail. It's like you can't give up.
I think it's
Fight
so
to the
cool.
second.
Yeah, when that last event ends up making the difference.
Yeah.
And we saw that,
For,
I
like, 2
think,
points,
in Australia
3
too.
points,
Yeah.
like,
Different people were posting that like they were way down or even out of contention, and they end up shooting up to the middle of the, somewhere in the middle of the top 5. They didn't even just squeak in. They really like blew people out.
yeah.
And I love that these last events, the last few years, have been a sprint. It's so fun.
It's so exciting.
It's really exciting to watch, and I think that's so smart to not.
I love that.
They've really got it down to a science of where they place certain events throughout the weekend, and I loved that. But yeah, and the guys was interesting in SoCal, or in California, I should say. I feel like a lot of the names we've seen so many times over the years: Josh Bridges, Dan Bailey, Garrett Fisher. These are like famous people, and then so many people were bummed that Dan didn't make it, and it's people have to remember that like he didn't make it to like the 0.001%. He's already proven that he's freaking phenomenal in everything, and it's like, oh, it's not the same without him, and I see that, but at the same time, it's like what he did, what he accomplished, and what he will continue to accomplish as an athlete is amazing. And
I mean, Garrett Fisher came back.
yeah, that was
strong
so
this
exciting.
season.
Man, the Fishers, both of them crushed it. That was, I mean, both of them came back from a tough year last year. That was very cool. But I guess for the guys, for me, the most impressive thing to watch was the deadlift, because I remember seeing that at the games and really it was tough for Josh.
What year was that?
At the games, 2013 finals.
Okay.
They did it as part of the
Pistols?
one of the last events, and it was 405 for the guys, which is the same as this weekend with the regionals, and the girls was 265, now 275 for regionals, so they even upped the ante. And so I thought both parties would be struggling based on that games, but I thought the girls might be okay compared to the guys, but because I always think, the guys, they're small CrossFitters, they're nothing like the powerlifters. They did awesome. They crushed it. There was definitely people that were doing closer to singles and maybe didn't finish it, but I thought there'd be people staring at the bar. I did think that Josh would have more trouble with it than he did. So talk about improving on your weaknesses. That was outstanding.
That's so cool. I love when you make something that's like the hardest thing for you, you just like make it your own.
Absolutely. That I'm actually curious to see that with Katrin Davidsdottir in a couple more weekends when she goes with the legless rope climbs, because that was what held her back in 2014 from going to the games. Now she is the returning champ. What will those be for her? I mean, knowing how she's attacked weaknesses, I'm feeling like 3-2-1 might be no big deal, but I've heard her say how those have been kind of like a mental block too, so it'll be interesting.
That's like kind of risky. It's the last event. A lot of times, like, that's going to determine if you're going to the games or not.
Yeah.
Every second counts, and every second of recovery for a legless rope climb makes such a big difference if you're going to make it or not. Sometimes
like you can't afford a no rep.
5 more seconds is like what you need to like make it that last pull, and sometimes you go 5 seconds too early and then you don't get that last pull, and it's like it's such a gamble. Like you have to know
your body, right?
Ready. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's
with so few
and you
reps
can't
like
be like, what's the word?
Cautious.
Yeah, you can't be like agitated by what other people are doing, like
yeah.
influenced, I guess, or like you can't let that mess you up. You gotta kind of stay in your lane, stay in your game plan. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that, again, to throw to Becca, she's so great about having her own plan, knowing it top to bottom, and staying with it.
Regardless of how fast the person in the next lane's going.
And that was great on Sunday when she was going through that, the bike, the handstand walk, what I guess it was like a chipper, right? Where a lot of people beat her off the bike.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, so what? Go ahead. And like handstand walking is one of her strengths, one of her, something she's great at, and absolutely made up some time there. And then there was the overhead squats, another strength of hers, and those stupid burpee box overs, just one at a time, just started passing people.
Just her own pace.
And we joked about like the technique of kicking the box versus flipping it, like little things like that. Maybe it won't be allowed next weekend, but regardless, like just thinking what's going to be the least energy expenditure for me.
her body.
Yeah, so smart. So I love seeing stuff like that and not getting rattled. I guess that was kind of the word I was looking for, by the two people in the lanes next to you, because how can you not? You can let it motivate you to go faster, but is that the right time for you to go faster?
Should you go faster? If you go faster, are you still going to make those rope climbs?
Exactly.
Are you still going to make that handstand walk?
Totally.
That's cool. And that's, I think, the difference between like an experienced CrossFitter
Absolutely.
and a newbie. A newbie
Totally.
is like, oh, I just want to, you know, keep up with the person in first. Like,
They'll get flustered.
No, that's not necessarily the pace you need to be going at.
Right. So I'm looking forward to this coming weekend. I'm really excited to see what happens in the West. It's not normally my favorite region to watch just because I don't really know anyone up there, but this year Margot Alvarez is up there, so I'm excited to see her crush it. Let's see, who else is going? It's the Atlantic? Or is it
I just had it on my phone.
I want to say it might be the Atlantic. And then next week will be the East, the Meridian.
And then there's
whatever's left. Is it the North, Central, or whatever? We don't know who it is.
We don't know.
I don't know who it is. But I want to say it's the Atlantic. Ben Smith is going.
Yeah.
And then the West. You know, so that'll be really fun for me at least. I'm going to try to watch the West as much as possible. How was it for you to watch and not be out there? I didn't like it last year myself, speaking personally.
It's hard because there's a lot of events I would have loved, and you know the programming is always a little bit different. I love heavy snatches, it's my jam.
That's totally been your day.
High skill gymnastics, that's totally my jam.
Day one was all you.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm correcting issues that I've been dealing with for so long. Like you have to just at some point just get healthy.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. And so hopefully next year, like, I love the programming as well.
Yeah.
You know.
It's CrossFit, you know, it's going to be CrossFit.
Yeah.
I did hear that you're the worst person ever to watch regionals with, though. That you're like, no fun, Susan, because you're screaming at the...
I yell at all of the athletes.
The computer screen. Like, no, you stupid, why would you do that? It's like...
I'm nicer than that.
So, no pants. Like, maybe we should just, like, not talk while we watch this.
I am encouraging.
You get really excited? Oh, are you encouraging? Do you cheer and clap, too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so
I
great.
jump up on the couch and, like, cheer. Even for people I don't know. But, like, the struggle of, like, getting the last couple reps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care who you are. Like, that is so exciting. If you're struggling with, like, the people, like, in the overhead squat.
Oh, yeah.
The last 5 overhead squats, I was screaming my brains out for people that I didn't even know.
Totally.
Just because, like, I know that feeling. Like, I
yeah.
know that feeling from, was it 2014 when we had the 60-something pull-ups and then overhead squats?
Uh-huh.
I know that feeling of, like, the last couple reps, and it's like, I'm almost there. Like, don't screw it up.
Right.
Like, remember your technique.
Hold it, yeah.
Your arms are collapsing. Your legs are, like, shaking.
Were you yelling all those things at them? Like coaching cues, yelling out the computer?
Yeah, like getting them people shaking. You're like, press it up! So, but it's fun. It's exciting. Like,
no, that's what's great about
them.
the energy out there. Everyone in the crowd is doing the same thing because they remember what it was like last time they did overhead squats and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that they've tried out the regional workouts, since those are now so on another level, but everyone can relate to these movements that we've all done. And it is a really great, like, crowd involvement type of a sport.
I mean, people often cheer the loudest for, like, the people, like, the slowest.
Totally.
Or the people in last.
Yep.
And, like, I love that.
Absolutely. There were some of those moments throughout the weekend where I might not have even been watching. Like, we brought our kids for the first year, so I might have been not even paying attention, but I would hear the roar of the crowd, and it was just like, oh, what's going on? And, oh my God, that guy's trying to lift his last, his last deadlift, and there was several people on the last barbell of the snatch, and they had failed it, and they were running out of time.
Like 30 seconds left.
And you're like, get it, and then they would get it, and you're like, oh my God, and they know they have it. Oh, it's the best. I get chills.
I know. It's like, I love it.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me want to, like, work on my Olympic lifting more than watching that snatch ladder. I was like, oh, I gotta do better. So
we'll work on it.
yes, we are. Yeah, you're gonna fix it. No Pants is gonna coach me on everything. Well, that was the regionals for me. I think everybody, even the people that ended on the high note of, oh my God, going to the games, I think everybody had highs and lows across the weekend.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Have a perfect. How many? 7 workouts?
Yeah. 7 for the individuals,
happen,
9 for the teams. Absolutely. There's always highs and lows, and it's about, who can ride that over the 3 days and
stay cool if you start getting no reps. Like,
totally.
Communicate with your judge. Like, just don't freak out.
I think people's bodies were holding up pretty well.
Yeah.
I think in the past we've seen a lot more carnage this weekend, at least in the south.
Or in the bloody hands or like
nothing. in California, I specifically talked to some of the medics who were bored. They were like, "Can we just get like a head injury or something?" No, they didn't say that, but they were kind of like joking at it. They were like, "We really have nothing to do." So it's good news. We don't want people broken apart. I think that was kind of one of the things everyone talked about after the games last year.
Yeah.
It's just broken bodies. Like people didn't want to train
for like the next like month.
Yeah,
just like
I don't even want to train anymore. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
People taking like a month off.
Yeah.
I bet there was adrenal fatigue cases we've
just
talked about.
Yeah.
You know.
Pushing that hard.
So it's kind of cool to see the way that the games are, you know, not that they're trying to walk that line, but they're able to come up with stuff that challenges and tests. And yet the athletes are able to rise to it and
every year
be ready for each event.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's very great to see the evolution of the sport. But I think, you know, we'll keep our eyes peeled for things happening in this next region and maybe do a little recap of that or kind of maybe predictions for the last weekend. That could be fun since the last weekend has 3 simultaneous regions going. This weekend is kind of the slow weekend. It's just 2 regions going. And I mean, I think, I don't know about you, I expect to see a really cool battle between Margot and Emily Abbott.
Yeah. And they're both really similar athletes.
They are.
Same body type, like just like they can do that long, gritty, awful work.
They both ranked similarly in the games last year. They both were in the Invitational. They both went. I saw them both up in Seattle in the fall when we did a competition, and they were really neck and neck in that. So the cool thing is they've competed against each other a bunch, so they kind of know how each other will do roughly in each event. And as we said, you just worry about yourself.
Right.
And they both know that. But it'll be a cool race to see. Yeah. I think Ben is gonna, he'll definitely have his work cut out for him in the Atlantic. I think Noah Olsen's still out there.
The gymnastics, like he'll be
right. And the snatching, I think both. I mean, I think Ben's really good at snatching.
He's strong.
Yeah. So
deadlifts, like he's got great deadlift.
Yeah. And be repping the slingshot all weekend.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a fun race there. I don't know who else. God, I don't know if I know the women over there. I wonder if Christy Atkins and Gretchen Kittleberger are usually Mid-Atlantic. So I know that Christy is trying to get back to the games. I'm pretty sure she's still in the Atlantic. I knew she moved out to San Diego for a bit, but then moved back there, I believe. But yeah, everything gets shuffled around every year. It's hard to keep track.
Everyone's moving all the time.
But we'll do our research for the week 3, and there's 3 simultaneous going on then, and we'll you can have some predictions based on the first 2 weeks. So, do you have any other comments on regionals?
I don't think so.
It's like our main time of the year right now.
I know.
It's fun to watch. Well, I guess we will sign off then. There's no drama. There's no one throwing things at us and making jokes. It's pretty quiet.
It's weird. We have no peanut gallery.
It's weird. They're putting the children to sleep.
They're the cutest.
All right. Well, then we'll say goodbye from the No Pants Side Pony experience. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.